My new tanks are here, and if you're wondering why they're still lying down and not standing up, it's because it's raining today, and with the barometric pressure fluctuations, just kidding, I have no idea how to stand these things up. Welcome to Ask the Meadmaker, where I, Ricky the Meadmaker, answer your questions about mead making, mead drinking, mead brewing, and really any question you're willing to send to me. Our first question this week is from William, and he's sick of people writing to me asking about distilling mead at home, and he wants me to either point them to a video talking about the risks of methyl alcohol poisoning or give a lecture on it myself. If you want to know, I'm an advocate for home canning of meat, which runs the risk of botulism. I trust home mead makers, home brewers, home distillers, home canners to not kill themselves and their families. The reason I tell you not to distill mead at home is it is illegal in almost every country, and I don't want to get in trouble for advocating it. Our next question comes from Matthew, who has a great question about mead clarity, and you know I usually hate questions about mead clarity, but his is, I'm lazy. That's how it starts. It's not a question, apparently it's a statement of fact on behalf of Matthew. I'm lazy, and I'm wondering if clarity in mead actually affects the flavor. If not, can I just skip this step? And the answer is yes, it affects the flavor in two ways. In one way, when you clarify, are actually removing compounds from solution, meaning they're not there to smell, taste, more importantly, see. When we drink a beverage, especially a beverage, the temperature and the color of it tell us a lot about what we're consuming. The cloudier your mead, the more it tastes like honey to most people, because bright yellow is what we associate with honey. And if it's crystal clear and a very, very, very straw or almost white yellow, it will taste less like honey. Chris wants to know how I cultivate my yeast babies. And what he means, I think, is how do you make a starter for mead? If he doesn't mean that, then I think he asked me something obscene. We're gonna go with the first interpretation. So, how do you cultivate your yeast babies? What nutrient do you use? What's the pH? And the answer is, just like Matthew before me, I'm a lazy man. The way I make a starter for mead is that I make a batch of mead, take the mead off of the yeast sitting at the bottom, then I use that yeast again and call it a starter. Loud Soda is racking his or her mead into type 1 plastic jugs and wants to know if there's a risk of leaching from the plastic and should he or she worry. The way I would put it is, I don't know if there's a risk or not, but I would tell you, don't worry, it's not gonna be the thing that kills you. I can almost guarantee it. Our last question this week comes from a person who shall remain nameless for reasons you'll see. My beautiful and amazing wife recently brought home a few cases of red wine / honey wine blend from one of those brew it yourself with your own equipment places. This was a great surprise. We cracked one of the bottles and helped ourselves to what tasted suspiciously like Welch's. My wife quite liked the wine and has been into multiple bottles at a time. She always says how incredibly drinkable it is and how she never gets too tipsy no matter how much she drinks. And this is a woman who is, quote, famously a one beer and she's done, all hyphenated, drinker. The question is, should I tell her that she forgot to put the yeast in? And my answer is another question. How strong would you say your marriage is? Well, that was our last question this week. Keep sending them and I'll get to it as soon as possible. Cheers.